Everybody's talking to Paul. I hear every word they're saying on my laptop, on my phone. When life seems a constant battle, I tune into Earnest Prattle. It will brighten even your darkest day.
Hello, welcome to Earnest Prattle edition 17. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping first. If you'd be so kind, would you please press the like button, subscribe, maybe share the video or leave a comment, any of those things, I'll be much obliged. And a little appeal going out. If you'd like to appear on the show yourself, please drop me a little message to the email address that appears on the screen, and maybe we can have a conversation about what it is you're interested in. Maybe you've got an unusual hobby, maybe you're involved with a charity or an organisation that you want to promote, anything at all that you think might be of interest to people. I'd love to have a chat with you, so please do send me a message. Now, on to today's vlog. I'm speaking to a very good friend of mine, the guy who actually started it all rolling for me, basically. The guy gave me the idea to start the Earnest Prattle vlog, and that's the world-renowned photographer, Alistair Morrison. So it's Alistair Morrison Part 2, Roll VT. Hello, Alistair. How are you going, brother?
I'm doing really well, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm doing a lot better now. It's an absolute pleasure to see you again, Alistair.
And you, and you.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I know it's been about 7 months since we did our first video together, so I thought it was about time I had a bit of a recap and to see how we're doing.
Well, I was wondering why you hadn't asked me again. I was really disappointed.
Well, I've been busy, Alistair, speaking to all types of individuals, all interested.
No, I know. I've watched them all. They're really good, and I'm fascinated by them. But you know, every time I watch one, I said, "Well, when's Paul going to ask me again?"
Well, it was nothing personal. It was just squeezing you in because I had so many.
Sure that it was. Are you sure it wasn't personal, Paul?
Nothing personal, Alistair. I mean, I've got to thank you, Alistair, because all of this is down to you and your herbal tea. All of this is down to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You put me on to. Stop laughing, Alistair. Keep it professional, please.
Yeah.
You put me on to vlogging in the first place, Alistair, and it's had a wonderful effect on my life. It's
good,
got me out of my little, Wayne scenario and talking to people again, Alistair. It's got the positivity back in my life. So thank you for giving me the impetus to start doing all of this. I really appreciate it.
Well, what I always saw in you, Paul, was that we were always good at just having a good old natter, weren't we? And
exactly.
Actually, I think that we don't talk enough. Generally, people don't talk enough. So what was really nice was that every time we had a natter, we just caught up and we just chatted about whatever. And I just felt that the whole idea of you chatting to a whole bunch of people, which is what you do so well. I mean, that it's so natural to you. It was great. And I think that they're brilliant. Listen, I really think that there should be some local radio that should take you up on it.
Well, thank you very much. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got lots of interesting DJ friends on their wireless. If they're listening in, maybe they can give me a little slot.
Yeah, I think so. I think just once a month, an Earnest Prattle. Then it would be once a week.
Earnest Prattle talking Cobblers.
then you take over their jobs, mate. And yeah, call it Talking Cobblers, isn't it? It's exactly like Talking Cobblers.
Well, I'm bilingual, like talk English and Cobblers, basically.
Well, exactly. That's why, you're so endearing. The Cobblers, I appreciate the Cobblers more than the English, to be frank.
Thanks, Alistair. So, Alistair, before I start blushing, can you, I mean, when I spoke to you the first time around December of last year,
yeah,
you was just polishing off the finishing of the old Time to Pause project. So can you give everybody an update on where that's gone since then and how it's progressed, please, if that's all right, Alistair?
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. We sent it into film festivals and we got accepted at Gothenburg and, in Sweden. And it was really nice to kind of get the industry to say, oh, this is good. We want to show it. And it became a really important part of their film festival because they could only do it online. They had COVID badly then as well, so they couldn't have audiences. So they had empty cinemas. But what they did was that they got a little competition running where they invited people to be the only person in the audience. So sometimes there was one person in a cinema. And they also put a cinema in the ice rink. And they also had a competition where they had, I think, something like 2,000 entries to put someone on this island called Paternoster, and they would then watch all of the films in the film festival. And they chose a nurse called Lisa, who we've got to know well now because I've introduced her to some of the other nurses. Steph, do you remember Steph in London?
Yeah, that's I've spoken to Steph on a previous vlog. Yeah.
That's right, and Teresa in Alabama, and I know that you've spoken to her at Christmas time, didn't when we had little get together, and it was just really nice that we connected with people. And then since then, we put it in for some advertising awards against the big boys, thinking, well, we might as well, and we won. We won the the connectivity, the getting people together section. And now we're going off to Shetlands, and you're coming too, Paul.
I'm coming too, Alistair.
Exactly. We're going to get you up to Shetland Islands. Which
so as somebody who's literally not been out of the house, more or less for 15 months, my massive goal is now to travel to the Shetland Islands to see you and a bunch of guys from the Time to Pause project and to watch the Time to Pause film at the Shetland Film Festival.
Yeah, because I haven't been able to show you the film because the film festival trail basically is all about trying to get the film onto terrestrial television or streaming or whatever. And but we decided that we were going to leave that because our documentary is really reflective about COVID, and to be frank, everybody got pretty pissed off with COVID, so it was not the right time to put it out this year. But there's going to be a moment when we kind of looking back on it and remember it in a different way, and that's when the film will really have its biggest impact, because it's basically conversations with people, lots and lots and lots of thousand people who are just telling me how they feel from over 100 countries in the world during a time when they were in the same situation as everybody else, whether you were a mother in Bangladesh or a father in Nottingham, it didn't make any difference. We were all in the same situations. That's right. Actually, what we realized was that by understanding that there were people out there who were worse off or better off, it kind of made you feel a little bit more connected. We were isolated. Isolated means alone. We were alone in our homes. We couldn't be with family. And that was pretty damn difficult, as you know, Paul, because, it's a tough old time to be with yourself all of that time.
Absolutely right.
And, and I think it's pretty obvious that I've changed a lot. I had a period of time straight after the documentary when I felt a little bit vulnerable. And it's kind of like you got to try and be honest with yourself and kind of find a little bit of yourself during all of this. And I know that, you know, your company has been fantastic for me. I mean, you're always very sweet and say that I've given you some kind of purpose and everything. But you know what? Just having chats with you has been really brilliant, because you do talk a whole bunch of cobblers, basically.
It's a knack, Alistair.
It is a knack, mate.
It comes with practice.
Well, you've had a few years practice now, haven't you?
I inherited it from my late father. He spoke a lot of cobblers too.
Did he?
Yes, he did, yes.
Yeah, he also talked a lot of sense, though.
He did talk a lot of sense. A lot of what people think is cobblers is common sense, Alistair. I mean, I've got to say in relation to the Shetland thing, it's going to be emotional, Alistair, because I'm so looking forward to just coming giving you a big hug.
Well, do you know what? So am I. I mean, it's very different, isn't it, from seeing someone through a screen? And virtually every time we've been sitting down. So I don't know how tall you are. I don't know anything other than the fact that, you know, you are Paul, and it's kind of like, it's going to be so great to just have that moment where we just go,
I just fall for a moment.
I'm going to weep, mate. I'm going to weep.
I want to weep
uncontrollably.
You will weep the way I hug you, bear hug.
Don't crush me now, Paul.
I'll try not to crush you. I'll say you did about my height. It would be quite funny if I was 6'7" and you're 3'2", wouldn't it? That'd have been great.
It could well be.
What a hug.
Well, you do look. You used to play American football, so you must.
I did used to play American football back in the day. I did, yeah, offensive lineman.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Alistair, we've been there for each other over the last 12 months or so, or probably even longer.
More than that, almost 18 months
now. And I've seen you in your little space there through the COVID times, and I've seen the pain on your face, the same as you have witnessed with me.
Yeah.
And we've had a laugh, but there's been times where I could see that it's hurting you, and you can see it's been hurting me. So the fact that we've had somebody to share these times with has been pretty amazing.
But isn't that amazing? Because ultimately, in theory, we are strangers to each other. We've never actually met, but we've had this chance to have these conversations. And I wonder if it would have been the same if we hadn't actually seen each other's faces.
I don't know,
if it been over the phone. I don't know. What do you think? No, maybe not. You have to really see the anguish and the laughter and the bad moments and the good moments. And you know, when you were doing your Earnest Prattle of Wayne and Paul, that was one of the most amazing things I ever saw, because it just seemed like two very distinctly different people. And what I haven't seen I haven't seen Wayne for a while now, and that's really encouraging. I always kind of measure you by the first moment you come onto a Zoom call, and nowadays you've got a resolve, you've got a purpose, you've got a kind of a come on, you know, this is going to be a good day, and that's really brilliant.
I want to close the lid on Wayne and put him in the box and leave him there.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, the reality is that we never get rid of our Waynes totally.
No.
You know, simply because they're bad days. But do you know what? If they can be banished more than often, then fine. And especially if we can deal with them. And I think you've learned how to deal with them. I mean, you know, basically you tend to just go and have a kip, don't you? And then,
I do tend to have a kip. When it's a bad day, that's the best thing to do, I find.
And it is, and you know, sometimes it is because your mind is tired and you can't quite resolve things, you know.
Absolutely.
And I know that you like everything to be, you know, just like that, and so just like that.
Yeah, like Tommy Cooper. But it's the old OCD, just like that. You're all right, Alistair.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, Alistair, is I know that you've, other than myself, of course, you've photographed some amazing individuals over your quite a few years, I'd imagine, as you're 42.
Well, listen, yes, I must have started when I was 2 years old then.
When you was 2
because
years old. So what I was
there
hoping to do with you is just
Yeah.
have a quick chat about some of the people that you've taken photographs of and some of your recollections of that experience, and
Sure.
you know, and see what you can let us share with you about it.
With pleasure. I mean, I was trying to work out the other day how many people I photographed. I think it must be in the hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands. It's like some Morrissey song, isn't it? Hundreds of thousands.
It's something like that.
How is Morrissey?
And all that. My mother still never heard of you.
Listen, exactly.
Well, she has now.
You keep asking me to say things like I'm a world-renowned photographer. And I'm just a photographer. You ask anybody who's watching this, they'll go, who? David Bailey, who?
Yeah, but after this video, Alistair, they'll remember you.
Well, listen, yeah, all 137 views will remember me.
137 views. Think of that. 137 more fans you'll have, Alistair.
7 more that remember me yesterday. So
you'll double your fan base in a few days.
More, triple. You know,
that's your fan base as well.
It's my family that are my fan base. And
well, here we go then. So what we'll do is talk about some of these individuals, and people will realise how famous you really are. So it's very topical. My first selection, because we've just got the Euros, and England are doing fantastic at the minute.
Yeah.
So I know one of the guys you've taken pictures of in the past is the old great Gary Lineker, and he is actually England's top scorer at World Cups and European Championships with 10 goals, although Harry Kane's hot on his tail at the moment.
Mr. Lineker, Gary Lineker, I photographed him when he was playing for Barcelona. Do you remember he used to play for Barcelona?
I do remember he used to play for Barcelona.
Do you remember who was managing Barcelona at the time?
Let me have a guess. It wasn't Terry Venables, was it?
It was. Well
was
done,
it?
it was. Yeah. So I went out to photograph Terry Venables and Gary Lineker. And actually Gary Lineker was quite revered in Barcelona. He was one of the few successes of people who go abroad. It's amazing, isn't it, when you think about it, all those people who come to the UK to play in the Premier League. There are not many that play abroad.
No, there isn't.
Now, are they? I mean, they're more now like Sancho and others who've gone to Germany, but not many that go the other way. Maybe, no. I don't know, maybe that's because the Premier League is the best place to play. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, Lineker was... he kind of had that kind of presence about him, you know. It was pretty obvious that he was going to become a pundit and then a presenter. But what I liked about him was that he was the ultimate kind of goal scorer.
Yes.
You know, he was the poacher. He was the guy who would just put them in the net.
Yes.
And he never really hit them from a distance. He was always there. And
in the right place at the right time, Alistair.
In the right place at the right time. You see, and he always reminded me, well, he told me that I reminded him of you know, the best times of his career, because I used to play as well in his position, number 9. You see.
Really?
Was he number 9 or 10?
You used 9. To play number 9 yourself, did you, Alistair?
I did.
I think he was 10 actually.
All right, well, fair enough. Well, Kane's 9, isn't he?
Who did you play for, Alistair? Was it the Eton second 11?
I actually got to play for England schoolboys, mate.
Did you really?
Once upon a time. Did you not know that? Have I not told you that?
See, obviously you've got more strings to your bow than you let on, Alistair.
Yeah, but the trouble was I was the posh boy. So everyone who got chosen,
I don't believe you, Alistair,
were out of Manchester Grammar School.
Right.
And I was the only public school boy, I think, in the whole team. So it was, yeah, but I was a number 9. Yeah, I was the goal scorer. Anyway, we digress. Lineker is, I like that picture because I took him a picture of him away from the pitch, because obviously a lot of people do these sports pictures, action pictures, and it's just him in the dressing room, just sitting there like reflecting, boots off, and it was straight after a training session at the Bernabeu. So I mean, it was a good old shoot to do. And they invited me. There was a game the next day, so they invited me to watch a match. I can't remember who they were playing, and then El Tel, who was a bit of I think he had a couple of wine clubs in London, and he liked his socializing. So we went out for this great dinner afterwards with Gary and Terry Venables, and I think a couple of the Spanish players as well. And it was a great trip. Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. And like I say, with your photos, you do capture the actual spirit of the individual. It's more than just an image.
Yeah, I think so. I kind of try and get them away from the obvious. So it's a bit like there's another one that I took of some swimmers, and I actually struggled trying to get some pictures of them in the pool. Do you remember David Wilkie and Adrian Morehouse and Adrian Morehouse, Duncan Goodhue with the bald head?
Oh yes, I remember him.
Three gold medal breaststrokers from different eras, and I photographed them together. And in the end, I kind of thought I'd failed. We went to the swimming pool, and they were all inside getting the chlorine off in the shower. So I got them to put their trunks back on, and we just got a picture of them, just the 3 of them, just standing under the showers, and it was great. You know, it just kind of, it was water related, and it just gave you a little bit more of an idea of who they were, rather than it just being them diving into a pool or some action shot. Yeah. So
whilst we're still on the old sporting theme, Alistair, second choice is jockey Frankie Dettori.
Frankie.
So can you tell us about your time with Frankie Dettori, please, Alistair?
Well, Frankie is he's as you would expect. He's a sort of a cheeky little English Italian who's
I think I'd like him if I met him.
Yeah, you would. He is a decent, really nice guy. And I wanted to do this picture of him, and I had this white pedestal. So I wanted him to perch himself right on the end of the pedestal as if he was riding a horse. So he's got the whip, and he's got everything. And I wanted him to crouch down. And I said, when you're riding, how far would you crouch? And he'd go like to a 90-degree angle. And he then said to me, but I won't do it until you do it first. And I won't do it until all my assistants do it first. So my assistants got on the pedestal first, and they literally crouched down. And I think one of them lasted about a minute and a half, and the other about, I don't know, a minute and a bit. I got on and lasted about 45 seconds. I mean, your legs just like, they're just pummeling after a while.
I can imagine.
So then he got on, right? And I'm photographing him. And 4.5 minutes later, I'm still photographing him, and he's not flinching. He's perfectly all right. Absolutely crouched down in this 90 degrees. So I said, Frankie, do you train for this? He said, no, mate, I just ride horses. He said, and bear in mind that 4.5 minutes is nothing like 4.5 miles around a course on a horse.
Yeah,
crouched like that. So it was fun to do, and it's a great picture. I have to say, it's one of my favorites.
That is a fantastic picture. I love that one too. And
yeah,
I don't think you realise how fit the jockeys have to be to do that sort of thing, basically.
Well, they have to lose a lot of weight too, because in the non-season, I mean, they're tiny and they weigh nothing, but at the end of the day, they do have to lose probably about 6 or 7 pounds before the season starts,
Well,
because
that's
they
one
have
vocation I missed out on, Alistair, is horse riding. Not unless it was a shy horse, put it that way.
Well, yeah, or a dead horse.
Well, it would be a
Potentially.
dead horse if I stopped on it for long. I can assure you. Well, thank you for taking the time to point that out to me, Alistair. I appreciate that.
That's all right, Paul.
Right, on to the next. Thank you for that, recollection about our Frankie.
Our Frankie.
So we're on to film stars now. So, like I say, hobnobbing with the rich and famous, including film stars, Alistair, as you have been.
Yes.
And we're now on to Bruce Willis.
Oh, Mr. Willis, yes. Mr. Willis, he was doing a film here. Not sure which one it was, actually. Probably one of the Die Hards or something.
Die Hard 16.
Yeah.
Die Harder than Die Hard before. Die Hard 16.
Let's Die Hard again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Return of Die Hard as well.
Die Hard.
Yeah.
Die Hard meets the Terminator.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, I was doing these pictures. He had rented some place in some big house in Surrey, and it was in the summer because the pool was open in this house. And anyway, I decided that I'd get him into the pool because he's a fit guy and he's got a good body.
Well, I like him. Yeah, bless him. He's a fit bloke. Yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, I always used to work with there were 3 friends who were photographic students and then assistants, and there were 3 girls who would always come. And I was probably then in my mid-30s, late 30s, and they were all straight out of college, and it was really nice working with them because they liked each other and they liked coming on the shoots and everything, and they were really hard workers. And I remember saying to Bruce Willis, listen, instead of you just being next to the pool, can we get you in the water? And he said, yeah. And I said, have you got some trunks? He said, don't worry about that. And he took his jeans off and he just had these boxers on, and he just jumped in the water with his boxers and did the photographs and finished a shoot, and off we went. The next day we were in the studio. I went in and the girls were just, they were giggling away in the corner, and I said to them, what are you on? What's all this about then? They said to me, did you see Bruce Willis when he got out of that water with those briefs, with those boxer shorts stuck to him? I said, no, I didn't notice, darlings, but you obviously did.
Yes.
And this little cheap thrill that these assistants had.
Well, they didn't get out much of the time, Alistair. They was with you all the time.
Exactly, you see, exactly. So anyway, yes, he was. I think that was the only time I photographed him. It's quite interesting because I photographed a lot of the English actors and celebrities quite a few times, and I spent 6 years in America, and I photographed some of them a few times, but generally a lot of them I only photographed once. And that was my day with Mr. Willis.
And what a great image it was, Alistair. I must say you did a great job.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Our final choice for our recollection is another fantastic actor. Well, probably a controversial one in some ports. And it's the old Oliver Reed.
Oh, Oliver Reed. Well, that's kind of become my most famous picture. It's again, actually, that was the only time I met Oliver Reed. So there I am at 11 in the morning. I asked for 11 in the morning because I know that he'd be pissed by midday. And
What a
we're
life.
doing this picture in the middle of the East End of London, before any of Canary Wharf was built or any of that lot. And he then finished, and he took a shine to me, and I was just, I was in my 20s, and he just said to me, do you want to come for a drink? And I thought, yeah, come on.
Well, you're a good-looking bloke back then, Alistair. Now, to be fair, I'll give you a fair dues. You have got better with age, actually.
That's very, very sweet of you. I think he just wanted an excuse for a companion, a drinking companion.
Okay.
So anyway, he took me off to this East End pub. I mean, literally, we just jumped in his car and off we went. And I tell you one thing, mate, I've never, ever been so pissed in all my life.
Really?
I left that pub. I can't remember.
Shetland Islands, mate.
Well, exactly. But I remember. I remember the day. I remember, obviously, the pub was entranced by having Oliver Reed in there, and everyone was coming in, and bulldogs were coming in. The lot, everything. It was all like something out of Oliver Twist, and more and more drinks, more and more drinks.
What did he drink, Alistair?
He was generally a beer man, but he also had quite a lot of anything that was bought for him. So
okay.
So at about 11 o'clock at night, or whenever closing time was, all I ever remember was him just saying to me, "Thanks, mate, for a really lovely day," and he pissed off, and I didn't know where I was. I think I fell outside of the pub in the gutter. I have no idea how I got home. But I remember hugging my camera bag and the film that I'd done as if it was, no one was going to touch that.
I'm not surprised a bit.
And then I got everything back. And that picture to me reminds me of that day and that full drinking session with Oliver Reed. To everybody else, it's like a picture of Oliver Reed. To me, it's like just a reminder of that day with Oliver Reed.
So in that boozer in Lerwick, I've got something to live up to.
You have, mate. You have.
Right.
But but you're not going to. Are you a drinker?
I have been known to suck the odd beverage or three. Back in the day, Alice. I'm not quite a big drinker as I used to be.
Well, potentially that will give you the courage to go skinny dipping there then.
Skinny dipping, absolutely.
What do you think?
As long as the Dundee whalers aren't out on patrol, I might go skinny dipping with you.
What do you mean you're going to get harpooned, Paul?
Yes, thank you for once again pointing it out. But, it may happen. But after half a dozen pints, I'll go skinny dipping with anybody.
Listen, we've got to.
I recommend that I need to make an excuse, which is the water will probably be really cold.
Well, listen, that makes no difference whatsoever.
So it says you.
I wouldn't worry about it. I think we should be more concerned that
if you bring your camera with you that night, make sure you've got a zoom lens on it, Alice. That's all I'm saying.
No, I don't have zoom lenses. I don't do zoom.
Do you not do zoom? That's all right. I'm glad.
No, listen, there's already some takers for a skinny dipping session, but as long as we don't all get arrested and end up, standing there naked in the police station having our pictures done. Profile, please. Profile.
Not again, Mr. Morrison.
I'll be saying I am in profile.
No. Alistair, you are. You're a one. I think it's something you're not telling us, really, to be fair.
But yeah, true.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, do you know what?
As this conversation, catching up with you, Alistair. But I'm gonna wrap up now, because if I don't wrap up, I'll be talking to her forever, because we've got so much stuff we can talk about, Alistair. But what I normally do is I normally ask all my guests to say hello and leave a message from my mother. But as you've already done that on your previous video.
I did, yeah. How is your mum?
Will you send out an hello and a message from my new pop star friend, Keely Moss, please?
Yeah, of course I will. But I want to ask about your mum first. Is she all right?
Oh, mother's fantastic. In fact, she's now moved into the new annex, Alistair.
Yeah.
She's really enjoying life, and I'm going to see her tomorrow. So now she's a
Good.
bit close. It's a lot easier to see her.
It's nice to be able to even say that you can go and see someone.
Oh,
Isn't it?
it's brilliant, Alistair. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will pass on my regards to Mum when I see her.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm going to say now a really, because she's so talented and she's so good, a really big hug to Keely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Fantastic. She's
And will you
brilliant.
go to
Hello, Keely.
get her in the studio at some point, Alistair, get some photographs of her?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've already invited her to come over. She's in Ireland, isn't she?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And since our vlog, I'm not taking any plaudits here, but she's gone from strength to strength. She's doing fantastic.
Well, it's because you got so much reach that everyone wants to hear her music now.
Well, that's the thing, Alistair. So that's another great reason to come and talk to me on the old Earnest Prattle vlog.
Absolutely. That's why I've missed out on those last 7 months. I've had no following, no nothing.
Well,
You know,
that wasn't intentional, sir. And obviously, this has been a great fun talking to you. So there will be an Alistair Morrison part 3 at some point, although we may have to put X-rated. And there's that herbal tea again, by the way.
Yeah, and hang on, it's almost time for my backgammon match.
The
local bell ringers are coming round for backgammon.
Fantastic, Alistair. I'm glad to see that you're still keeping that up.
Exactly.
Brilliant. So that just leaves me to say, Alistair, thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and let's do it again soon, brother.
Absolutely, Paul. And I'm gonna train for your hug. All right.
Excellent. Get some training because you'll need it. It's going to be a big one.
I will.
Thanks, Alistair.
All right, Paul. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.